Guys, welcome back to the Aspie World. What's going on in my hair? And this swell hat, yo. Anyway, guys, at the beginning of every video, I read out some comments from you guys. Sometimes from Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, but today they're all from YouTube. So let's get stuck in and read those comments. Okay, so the first comment here is from Caroline, and they said, "Hey, I love your videos. You really help come to terms with my Asperger's, and for that I'm forever grateful." Smiley face. Cool, it's awesome that these videos are helping. Okay, next comment is from Cookie Cat. I would read that book, and what book they're referring to is the idea that I'm going to write a book about Asperger's for you guys and have it available through my YouTube channel. I think that's a cool idea. Give the video a thumbs up if you are interested in that. I think that would be really cool. And then the other one is My Name is Panda, and they said, "Would you like to take a video about how Asperger's on teamwork?" So I guess what they're asking is, would I like to do a video about Asperger's and teamwork? And yes, I would do, actually, because this is a big thing for the workplace, and it's a common thing for the workplace. So I'll definitely do a video on that. That'll be kind of cool. If you'd like me to read out your comment, please hit that bell icon on desktop and mobile, because I'll be checking from the first 30 comments on here and picking one of those or a few of those to read out. And make sure you follow my Twitter account, so we're doing the same thing on there, picking some comments off Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So yeah, make sure you're up to date with my socials. I thought I'd tell you about this little thing here. My week has been a bit weird. I decided to buy this Tamagotchi. I don't know if you guys can see this. So this is a 1990s Tamagotchi. This is a 1997 Tamagotchi, and now these were really famous back in the 90s, and they were called like Virtual Pets or Cyber Pets or Tamagotchi, which is the name and the make of this specific one. And the idea was that, yeah, it's a digital pet that you keep on your thing. But I was really obsessed with these things, and I found it kind of really helped soothe me. I was being a kid, so it's kind of like the original fidget spinner, I guess, if you like, and or the original kind of Game Boy type of thing that you carry around in your pocket. I thought it was very cool, and so I bought one on eBay, and this is it. So I just resurrected it. And if you guys go to my Instagram page, you will see my restoration, where I kind of opened it up and I put new batteries in it and stuff like that, because I did a live feed, but it's up there for the next 24 hours, so make sure you go check that out. Also, guys, I have a t-shirt out this week. It's only lasting for the next 3 days. It's a Grand Theft Autism t-shirt, and I'll put a picture here somewhere so you can see it, but there's only a limited number of them that are available. There's only about 43 or so left, and they're only available for the next 3 days, so make sure you go out and get one if you really want one. So click on the link below in the description. I'll put it there in big asterisk so you can't miss it. Okay, guys, moving on to today's video. Today's video is about autism and driving, or Aspergers and driving. Now, I was asked to do this video. It was a request from somebody on my YouTube page, so I'm going to go ahead and talk a bit about that. So driving, there's a few things that we want to talk about here. So we'll talk about you know, when you're ready to drive, precautions and necessary issues, things that may stop you actually driving, and then actually driving and learning to drive, and then some ways that you can learn to drive and do all those things perfectly well. So I'm just going to talk about, if you're wanting to drive, I would highly recommend going to speak to your doctor or GP or physician first, and asking them if there's any barriers or boundaries that your abilities or your disabilities can stop you actually driving. So for some people it may be you know, some issues, I don't know. So the doctor may say, look, it's non-advisory for you to drive, but or some may be saying like, no, it's absolutely fine for you to drive. So I can drive, and I'm able to drive. So my doctor was cool about it. So that's kind of cool. So make sure you ask your doctor first before taking any necessary precautions, you know, further than that. And here in the UK, it's quite interesting. So normally you need to be 17 to hold a driver's license here in the UK, but if you so you get a provisional driver's license when you're 17, and that basically means that you can then start learning to drive. But if you get a benefit called the Disability Living Allowance, or the Personal Independence Payment, you can actually get a license when you're 16, because they help you with mobility. So that's quite interesting, something to always be aware of as well. So moving forward then, when you're wanting to learn to drive, and especially with people with Asperger's or any disability, what the government kind of looking out for, and the insurance companies looking out for, if you have any issues, you know, so they're making sure that you're able to drive, so you don't have any muscular issues, you don't have any visual issues or coordination upset, so that you are able to practically use the car in a safe manner. because it's all about safety at the end of the day. So something that could probably stop you driving is really common with autism and Asperger's is a history of epilepsy. If you have a history of epilepsy through your condition, then there could be implications there to stop you actually moving on and driving, because there may be implications where you can't drive unless you've been free from a grand mal or any kind of seizure for 3 years or whatever, etc, etc. But that's all down to your doctor again, so that's why it's highly advisable to actually go to your doctor and actually have a conversation with them first. Some other benefits is that you can, especially here in the UK, I don't know what it's like in the US, but you can get a blue badge. So if you're you can apply for a blue badge for disabled people, so you can park in specific spots so that you don't have to worry about finding a parking space or going to somewhere that's quite difficult to park. There's always disability spots available, so that's something to also look out for if you are traveling with somebody who may be able to apply for it with you, or if you're willing to drive and you want to apply for one of these badges, which is pretty cool. So moving on from that, I just want to kind of give you my kind of tips and tricks on it, on my kind of experience of driving. So I started driving, I wasn't really interested in driving until I was 19, and my parents paid for me to have driving lessons, and it was really scary. You know, I first started driving, and they were quite adamant that I needed to drive because it's quite it's a good skill to have, and so they paid for all my lessons and did everything, sorted it all out for me. And so when I started driving, the weird thing was I wasn't sure how the car was driving. I wasn't really getting how the pedals were working, because over here in the UK we drive mainly manual cars, and so I find this extremely difficult, and it was quite confusing to have the manual kind of stuff. You got the gear stick, you got all these 3 pedals, and there's loads of stuff that goes on, and so it was difficult for me to get that kind of whole clutch idea and clutch control and this kind of stuff. So with manual transmission you have a clutch. So in terms of how I figured it out, I basically went back and I studied and I looked on the internet how a clutch worked on a car, and I wanted to know how the mechanics of a car worked. And when I looked at the mechanics of the car, it became more obvious to me how the mechanics of the pedals and the gear stick worked, and so it became less scary because I knew how the system worked. And I think that's very important for anybody learning to drive, especially people with Aspergers syndrome, because we see things as like a problem solving unit, and there was a problem solution for me. I was trying to, what was the solution? The solution was figuring out how the mechanics worked, and how the mechanics worked, and it was so easy to figure out how to drive the car then. So that was quite interesting. So then I passed my test eventually in a manual car, but then I only drive automatic cars because I feel that you have greater control and you have more relaxing time driving when you're driving with an automatic vehicle. Not to mention that the fact that it's safer when you're trying to drive long distances, or you just want to you want to drive anywhere really. It's just so much more comfortable and ease for someone with Aspergers syndrome, and I feel like it helps lower stress levels. And then the other thing about driving, I would say, is that I always try to plan out routes. I always have somebody to come with me. I'm not really a massive fan of driving to new places that are really far away on my own. I'd never do that. I don't think I've ever done that. So things like that are always quite interesting. But I would say that it's definitely a skill which I'm grateful I have, and I would highly recommend anybody to go out and try and learn to drive, because it's such a good skill to have, and I think it's super important. Anyway guys, if you'd like to learn more about autism and Asperger's, please hit that subscribe button above here. If you'd like to check out my vlog channel, please hit the subscribe button over here. Check out my latest video around here somewhere, and also check out my merch. Super awesome stuff going on there. I'll see you soon guys. Peace!